Live from Chicago, this is Fox 32 News at Noon.
Next at noon, millions of Americans are dealing with the Arctic blast. How Chicagoans are coping.
The Hoosiers make history securing a championship against Miami.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Sylvia Perez.
And I'm Natalie Bomke. And you may have noticed it is freezing outside.
Yes, it is. So how are you all dealing with this? Roseanne hit the streets to find out, but quickly realized it may be safer to hit the diner.
With temperatures like these, doctors always say stay indoors if you can. So today, we're heeding their advice. Reporting from the Golden Apple in Lakeview, where many people have started their cold day with a warm meal. We're all Chicagoans, and we know the signs of a cold day when we see them. Steam rising on the Chicago River and from the tops of buildings, despite the sun beaming down. A sure sign that it's bitterly cold. The snow on the ground frozen in place. All reminders it's a good day to avoid the outdoors if you can, or bundle up if you must head out. Plenty of people and pets are taking it all in stride. Is the coat for days like today?
For days like today, my wife's rule is if it's below like 25, we got to put the jacket on.
It is freezing cold out here. You really feel it in your face. It gets to you quick. It gets windy in between these buildings too, especially. I'm gonna have to start running to work soon.
So you're not that bothered?
No, I'm kind of used to it.
You have some pretty red cheeks. Are you cold?
Well, yeah, but my legs were, then it stopped being cold because I was walking a lot.
Oh, so the walking helps.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to see the preparation of Chicagoans, you go to the Bear game Sunday night. They're all warmed up. They're all layered up. They've got hand warmers, etc. You see people walking around today going to work. They don't even have a hat on. So I'm wondering if they really live in Florida the whole year and just come here for a week. Because Chicago, the cold isn't bad if you dress for it.
So there you have it. You'll want to wear layers of loose, warm clothing and keep those hands and feet warm. In Lakeview, Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
She's always looking out for us, that Roseanne Tejas. A rare earthquake rattled downstate Illinois. This happened near Ullman, which is a population of about 100. So Pana, maybe you're more familiar with that community between Springfield and St. Louis. That's where it happened. U.S. Geological Survey reports it was a magnitude 3.8 quake, and that is strong enough for some people to feel. All right, 12:02, and we want to give you a live look outside. It just looks cold, Sylvia.
Doesn't it? Look at that icy lake, but still beautiful. The sun is shining. And how cold is it, Caitlin?
Well, we're above 10.
Okay, how about that?
So it is
That's
balmy
better than
out there.
yesterday morning, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So it's beautiful, too. We've got blue sky, but unfortunately, that wintry kind of weather is sticking with us here in Chicagoland. In fact, by this evening and tonight, we have the chance for snow. Right now, though, it's quiet out there. We have a few clouds, calling it partly to mostly sunny, but it's cold. 15 degrees at the lakefront, 14 at O'Hare, 17 in Aurora. I see 20 from Joliet to Kankakee to Morris. Temperatures in northwest Indiana in the mid to upper teens for you. Feeling like we could be at Goose Egg, 0 from O'Hare to Midway. So the feel-like temperature is brutal. 2 degrees below 0 for that feel-like temperature from Waukegan to Woodstock. Now, talking about the next 12 hours and that wind chill. Feel-like temperature through the afternoon, we're seeing around 9 to 10. That takes us into tonight as well, though. So temperatures tonight are actually going to stay elevated in the 20s as we head into tomorrow. And then tomorrow's high will be right around 30. But with that snowfall, we could see some accumulation, especially for locations north where a winter weather advisory is in place. From Lake to McHenry County, right along the Wisconsin border. That's where you have the best opportunity to get in on that 3 to 4 inch range for snowfall. The rest of us, you could see some minor accumulation, 1 to 3 inches possible in Chicagoland. We have one round again, as mentioned, starting this evening into tonight and early tomorrow. And then tomorrow evening, we have the potential for some scattered light snow to return before the temperatures plummet as we wrap up the week and head into the weekend. A full check of your 7-day forecast and the timing of this snowfall is coming up.
Thank you, Caitlin. The trial for the man accused of killing Cook County Judge Raymond Miles resumes today.
Miles and his girlfriend were shot in 2017. Prosecutors say Earl Wilson thought Miles's girlfriend had money in her gym bag. A second person who had been charged, Joshua Smith, pleaded guilty 2 years ago. Miles was leaving his home when he was shot. His girlfriend survived. Prosecutors say Wilson had previously served 12 years for attempted murder. This trial is expected to last about 2 weeks. In the meantime, the manhunt continues for the suspect who shot a Superior Court judge and his wife. Judge Steve Meyer and his wife were shot in their home in Lafayette on Sunday. Police say they are expected to be okay. Authorities aren't aware of any threats against the judge or others at the courthouse, but there will be increased security.
The Supreme Court will not be releasing its opinion today on President Trump's tariff authority. An opinion against the president could undermine a key part of his economic strategy in acquiring Greenland from Denmark. Now, if the High Court rules that the president has exceeded his power, the U.S. might have to repay more than $100 billion already collected. This comes ahead of his meetings with global leaders at today's World Economic Forum. A hearing is underway for the man charged with setting a woman on fire on the Blue Line. This happened last month. Lawrence Reed is facing multiple charges. The victim suffered severe burns and is still recovering. We'll continue to keep you updated. And families who lost their loved ones are calling for accountability from a nursing home owner. Earlier this month, the judge ordered Moshe Gubin to pay over $12 million in damages to families whose loved ones died or were injured due to negligence and abuse. This happened at Lakeview Rehabilitation and Nursing Center. Family members say despite the court ruling, they have not received any payments from the owner. They are now questioning why owners like Gubin are allowed to operate that target the most vulnerable.
We've entrusted our family members there, and whether it took them a couple months or a couple weeks to die, the point of the matter is that it happened under your care. So at some point, you should be accountable. You should do something.
State of Illinois. The state of Illinois pays money to these nursing homes. The federal government pays money to these nursing homes by way of Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Social Security, or whatever the income is that the families receive. They get all of it. So yes, the laws need to be upheld, enforced, and they need to bring this owner to justice.
Gubin oversees more than 140 nursing homes and healthcare facilities in 10 states.
Tonight, the Naperville City Council is set to vote on a controversial data center. There has been worries about how much power this would draw and the impact on the water supply. Plus, some people aren't thrilled about how close it would be to their homes, including some of the exhaust that the center could produce. The group behind the data center says it's heard the concerns and has made some changes.
Beck steps up, delivers downfield, intercept good! Jamari Sharp makes the pick that will clinch Indiana's first national championship.
The Hoosiers have made history, winning it all for the very first time. That's right, Indiana finishes the season 16-0, but the Miami Hurricanes put up quite the fight last night. The game got off to a slow start with Indiana leading 10-0 at the half, and that's when the Hoosiers kicked it into high gear. The defining moment of the game, and perhaps the season, coming from the quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. Just 9 minutes left in that game. The Hoosiers on 4th and 4. Mendoza takes off, spinning off Miami's defense and launching into the air over the line for that touchdown. It was just the momentum they needed.
The big concept that we've really had on ourselves this year is always betting on ourselves. Whether it's preseason, no one thinks we can make it. Whether it's figuring it out in situations like Oregon, Penn State, and Iowa, we've always figured it out. And whenever Coach Signetti, Coach Shanahan, they called that play, we knew, hey, we're going to bet ourselves one more time in the biggest stage of the game.
Indiana winning that championship title 27-21.
I love the video with the confetti. I can't get enough of it.
Great game.
The Bears are already losing one of their coaches. Running backs coach Eric Bieniemy is heading back to Kansas City. He's returning to the role of offensive coordinator. He was the Chiefs OC for 4 years, starting in 2018. And get this, he's going to replace former Bears head coach Matt Nagy, who's not expected to return after his contract expired. More news here on Fox 32 News at noon.
President Trump is doubling down on his desire to take control of Greenland as he prepares to head to Europe for a major economic meeting. I'm Rebecca Castor with the details coming up.
Tensions are still high in Minnesota. Why the DOJ is now targeting a group of protesters who interrupted a church service.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Welcome back. Turning to the markets now, the Dow Jones at minus 637 points right now. News of President Trump's proposed economic tariffs on those opposed to the U.S. takeover of Greenland seems to be having an impact on this.
Yes, the president will arrive in Switzerland for the World Economic Summit today, where he's going to be face-to-face with those opposed to the tariffs. Ross Mack, an economist and founder of Macconomics, joining us now. Okay, so Ross, how long do we expect this drop to last? And maybe, just maybe, could it balance out once we start hearing from some of these other world leaders that are at the conference?
Well, one, thanks for having me. And I think it's important that we look at this and say, new year, kind of same story, right? And I'm a historian. I like to compare the markets to what happened the prior years. And this is literally the same playbook from 2025. If we remember coming into, the new presidency, there was a lot of talk about imposing tariffs on either China, Canada, and then Mexico. And then ultimately, tariffs on everybody, right, when it came to Liberation Day. But I think it's important that we look and say, okay, in their short term, it's a lot of noise. What's going on? It's a lot of uncertainty, and as a result, the stock market hates uncertainty, and that's why we're seeing Dow down 600. But if we look at, last year we would come in and we'll see Dow down 1,000. Oh, we're gonna raise tariffs on 100% on China or 50% on this nation, right? And I think that when it's all said and done, I do believe that this may persist for a while, but I think ultimately long term, we will see that this is kind of the same playbook from last year, which effectively is the current administration trying to force the hands of other nations to have better bargaining power. And so hopefully, right, we will look and say, okay, 4 months from now, the market is much higher. And, as a person that loves investing and teaches the world about investing, sometimes you look at these type of opportunities and say, this is a great time to actually be buying right now.
Okay, let's talk about this because I know we're also waiting for the Supreme Court to make a decision on Trump's tariffs. How do you expect that to impact the markets?
So one, right, this is also another form of trying to force the hand, right? And I think this is truly a fundamental debate on whether monetary policy and Fed decision is going to be based on economic conditions or political pressures. And so I do believe that this is obviously going to have a long-lasting impact if the Supreme Court does say, okay, it's okay for, Trump to fire, Ms. Cook. And I think when it's all said and done, this can have, very unintended consequences if this is to persist. I think when it's all said and done, the Fed has done historically done a good job of being completely agnostic, not Republican, not Democrat, but more importantly, just literally looking at the data and saying, inflation is here. Let's, have an interest rate policy here, because when it's all said and done, we have Trump, which also has been things that we haven't seen historically, but coming out, vehemently saying, Jerome Powell is not the smartest man in the world. He should have been lowered interest rates. And so whether you agree with him or not, I think that this is going to set precedent when it comes to, if new presidents have the ability to now have Fed policy as well.
Ross, what are you hoping to hear from this economic summit in Switzerland this week? And is there anything we should be specifically keyed into? Because I know obviously other world leaders are going to speak, but President Trump is going to unveil some economic policies. So what are you hoping to hear?
Yeah, I think historically, right, when you look at Davos and some of the world leaders coming there, ideating and kind of giving a forecast of what's to come, right, we literally, saw the CEO of Amazon pretty much saying, like, obviously the unintended consequences of Liberation Day, we are seeing, right, tariffs actually creep into prices, right? Because, imposing tariffs on different nations are now causing prices to actually be higher, aka us having persistent inflation. That's obviously one of the reasons why, you have, Trump wanting to lower interest rates. But I think at the end of the day, when we have some of these world leaders come in, I think it's very important to remain a long-term investor and listen to see if there's any sector, right, investable sector that you may not have been looking at to potentially add on, right? It'll obviously be a ton of conversation about artificial intelligence, maybe robots. We'll hear a ton of things there, but I think one of the things we want to see is that the overall consumer is strong. We obviously are seeing, from an economic standpoint, we're seeing, ways of potentially trying to alleviate the consumer. We're trying to cap credit card interest rates, but we're having, persistent inflation. We're having record, credit card debt at 1.3 trillion. And so everything is pointing to, the consumer not being as strong, while simultaneously we having a weak U.S. dollar. We're having gold and silver trading at all-time highs, which for the most part are not a good sign. So one of the things we want to do is just hopefully have the ability, some of these world leaders maybe calm and give us some good news. But nonetheless, no matter what they say, I think it's important that everybody remains a long-term investor. My sister just texted me saying, oh my God, the stock market is so red, right? But 2 years ago, she would have said, what's going on? Now she's saying, what should I buy? And so I implore everybody that's at home, anytime you hear noise in the stock market, look at this and say, what could I be buying, right? Because every holiday come Black Friday, we look and we rationalize a big purchase by saying, oh, well, it was 30% off. It was 20% off, so I got it for a discount. It's no different when it comes to paying your future self by investing. And so I implore everybody to remain consistent and disciplined and just look at certain noise as saying, okay, in 3 months, 5 months, or 5 years down the line, I'm going to be happy that I bought certain assets.
Okay, I love how you did that comparison, right? That was really good. Thank you, Ross. Always nice to talk to you. Thanks for breaking that down for us.
Thanks so much for having me. Okay. And as always, Happy New Year. And thanks for having me. And I hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Well, as we just mentioned, President Trump going to be on his way to Switzerland for the World Economic Forum, where talks of the U.S. acquiring Greenland are sure to dominate those conversations.
Now, Rebecca Castor has the latest on the president's Arctic push.
Greenland is nearly 3,000 miles away from Miami, where President Trump watched the college football national championship Monday. But it seems to be all he can think about ahead of his trip to the World Economic Forum, where European leaders are expected to put up a united front against his push to acquire the Danish territory.
Look, we have to have it. They have to have this done. They can't protect it.
The president plans to impose a 10% tariff on 8 European allies aiming to block his purchase of Greenland. And it could go up to 25%, a threat that's already causing a stir in Davos.
Combined with an endless accumulation of new tariffs that are fundamentally unacceptable, even more so when they are used as leverage against territorial sovereignty.
I tell everyone, sit back, take a deep breath, do not retaliate, do not retaliate.
Trump insists the U.S. needs to control Greenland for national security needs, and some military experts agree.
We have two major adversaries, not just in Russia, and also in China. And both of them have their ICBMs, pointed at the United States. The quickest way to get to us is across that island.
But critics believe the U.S. should work with Denmark and not take the territory by force.
The only national security threat right now to Greenland is not from China and Russia, and I would know it's from the United States.
We're still awaiting a Supreme Court ruling on the president's tariff authority, which could impact these new European tariffs. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox Chicago.
In Minnesota, the Justice Department is launching an investigation into protesters who interrupted a church service in St. Paul on Sunday. Trump officials say the group of 30 people was targeting a local ICE official who is also a pastor. Governor Tim Walz released a statement saying he in no way supports interrupting a place of worship. Spain is holding 3 days of mourning for the people killed in that high-speed train collision. The crash happened on Sunday, and at least 40 people were killed. A privately operated train derailed, and 2 of its cars crashed into a train controlled by Spain's national company heading to Madrid. The first part of this investigation is looking into the track, but officials say they have not ruled anything out.
Freezing temperatures causing trouble for drivers in Milwaukee. Waterworks crews say a service pipe leaked and led to a layer of ice on the city's east side. Cars got caught in the deep freeze and some people's cars were frozen.
Whose fault is this? It's nobody's fault. Yeah. It's the price you pay for living in the great state of Wisconsin. The worst things have happened. I mean, if this is the worst thing that happens to me in my life, it won't be bad. I mean, you can't go through life invulnerable to setbacks.
What a nice man. I wish he was my neighbor. Milwaukee Waterworks is telling people if their car is still frozen to call the control center for help.
That's what everybody says about you, Natalie. I wish she was my neighbor.
Oh, thanks, Sylvia.
Well, the snow was the big problem in North Dakota. The Highway Patrol posting video showing whiteout conditions. The interstate ended up being shut down, and police say that they were risking their lives if anybody tried to get out in there. Look at that. That's crazy. There were roads closed all the way to the state line. How about that?
I would have an anxiety attack.
I think
attempting
to
drive
in
in
pull over and just cry.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Millions of Americans are waking up to bitter cold temperatures. It's not just us as a surge of Arctic air moves east.
This is all coming as forecasters are warning of another major snowstorm this weekend. Tanya J. Powers has more.
I seen it way ahead, and I had to go out. I went off the edge.
A massive pileup in Michigan as a massive snowstorm blanketed the state. More than 100 cars smashed into each other or slid off the highway just southwest of Grand Rapids on Monday. Police say there were no deaths, but multiple people were hurt.
Staying out here 10, 15 minutes is real cold.
The cold air that swept across the Midwest is now spreading east. It's sending wind chills into the single digits in parts of Pennsylvania, New York, and Washington, D.C., raising fears of frostbite and hypothermia.
Trying to go in wherever I can when I'm outside, when I have to wait for the bus and stuff. It's just trying to get dressed, extra layers, gloves, all that stuff.
In New York City, officials activated a Code Blue, deploying extra resources and easing shelter intake rules to ensure anyone who needs it has a safe place indoors.
We want everyone to stay warm, dress in layers when you go outside. We are in a Code Blue. We've been in a Code Blue for most of January, but certainly this week we are in a code blue.
And forecasters say another round of Arctic air could hit the Midwest on Thursday. Warming centers are opening up across the region for people needing a place to stay.
People are leaving their comfortable homes, bringing us essentials that our people need, and I just think it's great.
Forecasters are also monitoring the potential for another winter storm that could bring snow to the south and eastern U.S. later in the week. In New York, Tanya J. Powers, Fox, Chicago.
Ooh, okay. We've been talking about how cold it is, and Caitlin just revealed some surprising news.
Yes.
Huh, Caitlin?
Yeah, do you remember 1985?
Yes, I do, and I'm trying to remember how cold it was.
27 degrees below zero.
That was the actual temperature.
Actual record.
Wow.
Low in Chicago. So happy anniversary.
Actually, wow.
It's still
crazy.
cold today. It's cold, but not quite as cold as we were yesterday. So right now we're sitting at 15 degrees. Lakefront, 14 at O'Hare. So 10 to 20 degrees throughout Chicagoland. I do see a 21 there in Kankakee as well as in Morris. 16 in Maryville, 21 at LaSalle. It's beautiful, though. For now, we've got sunny skies. But the clouds are going to be increasing, and we have the chance for snow returning to the forecast this evening and tonight. Here is your future cast. Let's take you through the day. So, as mentioned, temperatures are going to be hovering in the low 20s. Now, tonight, we actually stay propped up in the upper teens to 20s. Now, as we head into early tomorrow, this could cause a few issues on the roadways. This is 6 a.m., and we have snow coming down. So a slick drive early, and then again tomorrow evening we have the chance for scattered snow to return. So in the middle of the day, it's going to be quiet. Lunchtime hour, temperatures right around 30. But then as we work our way into the evening, you can see that second round of some scattered snow could lead to some slick conditions. Also, it could be a little bit gusty out there, around 20 to 25 mile per hour wind gusts are possible. So drops in visibility are not out of the question. But let's take a look at our future cast. So as mentioned, today we do have the sunshine. It's that deceiving sun. And then that round of snow that moves through tonight and early tomorrow. Here comes that second round of snow as we work our way through Wednesday evening. And then high pressure is back. But you heard, if you were listening to that package that we just showed you, cold air returning for the end of the week, absolutely. Temperatures are going to be brutal, especially on Friday with the high of only 0 expected. Now, talking about the snow, before we get to the end of the week, I do want to point out that we have a winter weather advisory in place from Lake to McHenry County because that is where we have the best potential to reach that 3 to 5 inch range for snowfall. The rest of us, around 1 to 3 inches are possible. Back to you.
Caitlin, thank you. Leaders in Orland Park are giving the green light on next steps for a proposed Amazon facility.
But residents aren't too thrilled about this, citing some traffic concerns. Saquon joining us in the studio. And I just want to say, first of all, welcome to Fox. We love having you.
Thank you.
This is your third time on the air?
I think so. I lost track at some point,
We're keeping track. Welcome.
Well, thank you, guys. Well, this, of course, as you can imagine, has been quite the buzz in Orland Park. This new Amazon facility is probably different than what you're thinking of. It's not like a distribution facility or a warehouse. It's actually more like a Walmart supercenter, maybe even a Costco, but even bigger. Okay, Amazon's brand new retail concept would feature groceries and general merchandise and more than 800 parking spaces. Okay, it's expected to be massive. We're talking 225,000 square feet. And just for some context here, Walmart supercenters typically average around 180,000 square feet. This would be built along 159th Street and LaGrange Road, an already busy intersection with the existing retailers right in that area. And that congestion is really the main concern that these residents have been bringing up. According to Orland Park's mayor, on average, 70,000 cars pass through that intersection every day. Meanwhile, Amazon representatives say multiple traffic studies were done before this was even proposed. Some of their improvements include widening a nearby road and adding some new traffic signals to help reduce some of that congestion. Now, I met two gentlemen who actually live in Orland Park, Clint and Joe. They're actually very good friends, but they had different opinions on this store coming to their neighborhood, and it really wasn't about the traffic. Listen.
I think it just makes more competition. I don't think it's going to hurt small businesses. I think if you go to a small business and you're going to continue to do that.
The world is changing, and retail has changed largely because of the internet and Amazon. Amazon's been the driver for being a pressure on retail in communities, and now you're going to invite the monster to your back door.
Well, at the board meeting last night, the mayor also highlighted the village's history of developing retail, referencing a pig farm that was rezoned, then redeveloped into a popular mall in the area. Village officials also say this new store could help boost the local economy, bringing 500 jobs and additional sales tax revenue to the village.
It shouldn't shock anybody that 35 acres of vacant property on, I'll quote Amazon, Main Street and Main Street in a place like Orland Park is of high interest to a retailer. And this is a private sector transaction. This is not village expenditures. This is not a performing arts center. This is not an outdoor concert venue. This is not a police range. This is a private sector owner who held the land, ran a business, decided he wanted to be in the business, sold it to a developer who brought forth proposals to the village.
Well, construction, we know, could start as early as the spring, with plans to have the box store up and running by 2027. Back to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Saquon. The American Academy of Pediatrics has a new prescription for parents that are worried about their children's screen time.
What you need to know coming up.
You must.
The American Academy of Pediatrics has released new screen time recommendations for young people.
The goal to help guide families as they work to create a safer online world. Caroline Shively has more from Washington.
Big changes are coming to long-standing recommendations about how much screen time is healthy for kids. The American Academy of Pediatrics issuing new guidance, emphasizing the need for parents and educators to acknowledge young people live in a digital world, and the focus should be directing the use of technology, not limiting it.
They're developing their cognitive abilities, and the changes that are happening, that they need to learn how to navigate using technology for appropriate purposes.
It's a major departure from previous guidelines that stressed limited screen time for kids. The Academy now says that's unrealistic, and parents should instead become more involved in their children's digital lives to make sure what they're exposed to is educational, not harmful.
Unlimited access oftentimes might mean, access to content that may not be kid-friendly.
And experts say with AI now supercharging online interactions with young people, parents need to start teaching their kids about tech at an early age.
We can and should control our interactions with AI. And so I think empowering kids, right, to sort of develop that mindset, that mentality, is really important.
The new report says lawmakers should play a role as well, but at a recent Senate hearing on the subject, limiting screen time was the major focus.
All the parents I know, myself included, are deeply concerned about all the time that kids spend glued to screens.
The Academy also says lawmakers should invest more in public resources like parks and libraries to give kids alternatives to screens. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox Chicago.
Taking a live look outside, another cold one, not as bad as yesterday, so a little bit of a reprieve before the cold comes back, but it's still chilly out there.
It is so cold, Caitlin.
I know. But Sylvia, you read my mind.
Right?
Because literally I'm starting off with our 24-hour temperature difference, because yesterday we were quite a bit colder than we are right now. 14 degrees warmer. Doesn't really feel like it. 15 degrees warmer now compared to yesterday at this time from Aurora, to 14-degree jump there in Kankakee. Northwest Indiana, temperatures for you are around 10 to 15 degrees warmer than we were yesterday. Now, it's still cold, but it is beautiful. You saw that live shot. We've got blue sky, just a few clouds out there. Enjoy that, because the clouds are going to thicken up, and then we have the chance for snow moving in this evening and tonight. Talking about temperatures, though, we're in the teens. 16 degrees at the lakefront, so it's still dangerously cold. 14 degrees at O'Hare. I do see low 20s from Joliet to Kankakee to Morris and LaSalle. Temperatures in northwest Indiana, the mid to upper teens for you. But with the wind around 10 to 20 miles per hour at times, it's going to feel even colder. Right now, wind chill is 0 at O'Hare, 2 at the lakefront. Feeling like we could be 2 degrees below 0 in Waukegan, 2-3 degrees below 0 at Woodstock. So it is chilly at this lunchtime hour. Looking at our future cast, let's take you through the rest of your day. 5 p.m., you get off work, get home, got to take the dog out. It's going to feel like 9 degrees at the lakefront. So prepare yourself, start to finish. Moving on into tonight, we have that scattered snow. The one good thing is temperatures are actually not going to be decreasing. We're staying in the 20s, feel like temperature around 10 to 15. That's going to carry us into early tomorrow. And actually tomorrow, high temperatures, actual temperatures, are going to be hovering around 30. And it's going to feel like we could be in the upper teens to low 20s. We're going to have 2 rounds of snow tomorrow. First, the one that moves in this evening and tonight into early tomorrow. And then again tomorrow afternoon and evening, we have the chance for scattered snow. But the temperatures are going to be the warmest of the week tomorrow. Here's your future cast. Let's see when the snow moves in. I want to time it out for you. First of all, during the day today, as mentioned, we're going to have increased cloud cover. But as we move into this evening, that's when we have that potential for snow moving in, 8 to 9 p.m. on. And then tonight, 3 a.m., still seeing that snow even into early tomorrow for your commute. I do expect delays tomorrow morning because of the snow. In the middle of the day, we're dry, but then the return of some scattered snow moves in the afternoon and evening, and then the temperatures plummet. To end the week, that's going to be the main headline. So talking about how much snow we expect tonight into early tomorrow, 1 to 3 inches not out of the question. Heavier snow not out of the question for Lake and McHenry County. So that's where we have that winter weather advisory in place, right along the Wisconsin border. That's where you could be seeing 3 to 5 inches of snowfall. And then we work our way to the end of the week, and that snow that falls isn't melting, because 21 degrees is expected to be our high on Thursday, Friday 0, 9 on Saturday, and then back to the teens Sunday. Starting off next week, sunshine and 20 degrees. It's 12:37. We have so much more ahead. Stay with us.
Fox 32 News is brought to
Welcome back. Here's a look at some of the top stories we're following for you at noon.
A burst water pipe forcing air traffic controllers in one tower at O'Hare to evacuate. You're taking a live look at the airport right now. I don't know that this is the tower in question, but for now, flights are being slowed as they approach the big airport. It is causing some big delays. Those evacuated air traffic controllers, again, because of a burst water pipe, were shifted into other towers to try and stem the number of delays. We do have a crew headed to the big airport now to kind of sort through what's going on and give us a better picture of how many delays and potential cancellations there are at O'Hare. So stay tuned to Fox 32, also fox32chicago.com for updates.
Well, the manhunt continues for the suspect who shot a Superior Court judge and his wife. Judge Steve Meyer and his wife were shot in their home in Lafayette on Sunday. Police say they are expected to be okay. Authorities aren't aware of any threats against the judge or others at the courthouse, but there will be increased security. Aurora is serving up something special for food lovers.
Aurora Restaurant Week is back for its second year, running through February 3rd. 50 restaurants are taking part, from cozy neighborhood favorites to upscale dining experiences. Restaurants are offering exclusive discounts and specialty dining menus, giving people the perfect excuse to try something new. For a full list of participating restaurants in Aurora and menus, visit aurorarestaurantweek.com. Big security alert for iPhone users. Why Apple says it's time to make sure that all of your devices are updated.
Interact. Need a
A serious security flaw could be affecting iPhone users, impacting hundreds of millions of devices.
Apple says there's an issue with its software that runs every browser on iOS. It's allowing malicious websites that trick iPhones and iPads into running harmful code. And once that happens, the hackers can gain control of your device. They can steal your passwords and access your payment information. So Apple is telling all iPhone and iPad users to update their software as soon as possible. You should get a push notification to do that, so just make sure you pay attention. Our noon show will be wrapping up in just about 15 minutes, but Chicago Live is just getting started.
And Anita's standing by with a look at what's ahead. Hi, Anita.
Hey, ladies. Yeah, there's a lot to get to between 1 and 4 p.m., so let's go ahead and dive into some of the things that we've lined up for you ahead. So in our 3 o'clock hour, ahead of tonight's city council meeting in Naperville, we're going to be talking with the resident and business owner who says he will be the first in line to stand up and oppose a data center that is on the agenda. More and more municipalities are having to kind of decide what they're going to do about those particular proposals. In our 2 o'clock hour, 2 major announcements for the city on things that we love, music and food. We'll go live to an event where the governor and the mayor are going to be celebrating International Jazz Day and talking about that, plus the comeback of Carmine's that a lot of people can't wait for, and I can't wait for in our 1 o'clock hour, a conversation about a very interesting find, ladies, that happened in the walls of a business in Thornton. So lots to get to, and we'll see everybody from 1 to 4 online for Chicago Live.
Thank you, Anita. Valentine's Day weeks away, but reservations are filling up fast.
Coming up, the most romantic spots in Chicago to book before it is too late. We are getting some tips from the professionals at Infatuation. We'll be right back.
Who here is our...
Valentine's Day just around the corner. Now's the time to start making those dinner reservations before it's too late.
So joining us now is giving us extra help, Adrienne Kane, editorial director with the Infatuation Chicago, to share the top romantic date spots that's perfect for the big night. Welcome back. Good to have you. For those who are not familiar, explain Infatuation.
Hi, so glad to be here. Thanks for having me back. Yes, the Infatuation, we're a restaurant discovery platform where we provide restaurant recommendations and also guides for different restaurants for all different occasions and situations.
I love this. This is so great. So what are the top spots on your list then for Valentine's Day?
Well, you know, Chicago has so many great restaurants that fit tons of different date events. Right now, I'm really excited about Tre Dita, which is an Italian restaurant in Streeterville. It's got a great view, very, very romantic. Also very, very hard to get a reservation. So you're going to want to go ahead and book that table early.
I wonder if there's even room left right now. I have to tell you, you need to go, after you have this baby, you and your husband are going there for a nice romantic
Thank you.
dinner.
Yeah, I'll let y'all set it up for me.
One of my
Sylvia,
favorite little
since
tips about Tre
reservations
Dita, her and I always love exchanging
Yes.
information. They have this secret table, which is now not going to be secret anymore, at the very end of the bar that looks straight out to Lake Michigan, a table for two. It's so romantic.
And that's the thing, you know, there's always a tip and a trick to get these tough to get reservations.
So how do you do it?
Well, for one thing, you can consult the Infatuation and look at our toughest reservations guide, which will tell you exactly how to secure these tables. A lot of times you can walk in. Tre Dita's bar has just as lovely a scene as the dining room, and you can walk in and get that special table that she's talking about.
Awesome. Okay, so what other restaurants are on the list then?
If you want less of like a fancy dinner and more of like a really lovely cocktail spot, I love Kamiko.
I love Kamiko.
Kamiko in the West Loop. If you do want to eat, you can get some Japanese small bites. And that place is also really hard to get a reservation, but the best thing is that it's part of the Chase Sapphire Reserve special dining program, where if you go on Open Table and you have a Chase Sapphire reward card, you're able to get exclusive reservations.
Oh, I need to see if I have that one.
I don't have that one.
If I do. And then one of them that's on the list is Asador Bastion. Tell everybody about that, because that's on everyone's list right now.
First, that restaurant opened a few years ago, and I think now it's just finally everyone's discovering it. I love that steakhouse. It's a Basque steakhouse. It's in River North. It's intimate. It's not one of Chicago's giant steakhouses that has giant baked potatoes. It focuses on really exclusive cuts of meat, a lot of whole fish too if you're not a meat eater, and it's a very intimate setting. They also have an incredible wine list.
But one tip for everybody though, save your money for that one. It's not cheap, but the food's amazing.
Well, Anita was telling me, our colleague Anita, that some of the things on the menu, her significant other was like, ooh, that does not sound good to me. And they ended up ordering it and he loved it.
Yeah.
So it kind of off the beaten path
Just
with
trust
tastes.
me,
Yes.
go. Yeah, okay. Some other ones that were on there real quick, Bracero, which I love, Mr. Tiger, haven't heard of that one or been there yet.
Yes, Mr. Tiger, really fun for like a sexy, sceney date night, or like a Galentine's as well, Korean small plates.
Very nice. And the Bar Tuto was the other one we haven't had a chance to mention. I think, did we cover those? But what we didn't cover, you can go on Infatuation and find out more, right?
Absolutely, yep, and you're gonna get honest restaurant recommendations, so check it out.
Adrienne, thank you so much. We could talk to you all day here. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
No matter how
We do have some breaking news. President Trump speaking at the White House about the first year of his second term. Let's listen in.
With this, right? I hope you don't. But these are people that you have to see. Strong-arm rape, aggravated assault with a weapon, and many other crimes. Gang member, known as one of the toughest people around.
President Trump is addressing the media right now from the White House, and this is in regards to Truth Social post that he made earlier this morning, urging the Department of Homeland Security and ICE to do a better job at letting the public know who they're going after in these particular ICE raids in Minnesota. And so he was showing, I believe, a few of the photos of some of the individuals that they are allegedly targeting. We were expecting to hear a summary of his first year of his second term. Let's listen in again.
In that church was horrible yesterday. Look at it here. 24 convictions. 24 times convicted. They're not charges, these are convictions. So he comes from outside the country. Do you think he's going to be good here? He's convicted 24 times, he's going to be good here, right? It doesn't work that way. He's a man murderer. One of many. One of many. All they want to do is get him out. They want to take him out of our country. And we're met with paid agitators and insurrectionists.
Okay, we've been listening to President Trump, as Natalie said. He's now talking about making sure, he's talking about the people that have been arrested by ICE. We will have a wrap-up on the news at 4 about his comments on his first year of his second term. In the meantime, Caitlin will have a final check of the forecast when we come back.
This January.